Hey guys, welcome back to the TohirT channel 2020. I hope you had a fantastic New Year's celebration. In today's video, we're starting with a very interesting topic because, well, a lot of you probably are in the same mind space where new year, new me, new job. And I'm epitome of this. I actually started the new year in the new role at the new company. So I want to share with you my experience of how I started from the moment of deciding that I want to leave the job, the process of searching for the job, and how I made it to the point where I had 4 different offers to evaluate. You saw the thumbnail, let's get this one out of the way. Do not hate the player, hate the game. I do not have the magic bullet for you. I did get the 4 offers, but it took me a while to get there. I used a combination of free tools and a unique yet consistent approach in how I applied for jobs, interviewed, and made sure I am at that rank of the top candidates. So if you expect me to give you some magic recipe to just get the job tomorrow, this is not it. You can X out of this video right now. But if you're ready to consistently execute on a few steps that will bring you to the point where you'll finally get that offer in your hands, well, it sounds like you're up for it. Let's do this. We have a lot to cover, so if you feel like I skipped through certain important things or went too fast, just go into the comment section, ask me the questions. I'll be happy to help you achieve your professional goals. Before we dive deeper into how I approached my job search, I have a few prerequisites for you to think about. First and foremost, is it really time for you to leave your company? You have to answer this question as the next couple of questions, because if it's involuntary, if you're getting laid off or fired, I get it. It's time for you to look for a job. But if you're trying to decide between leaving the company and staying, can you apply the same amount of energy and the same time that you will spend in the job hunt on improving whatever your role is, on improving the effectiveness of yourself as a professional in your current role and getting that promotion, or maybe doing an internal search? Consider that, because there is always an option of growing within the company. But if it's not, well, you're in the right place to discuss the next steps. Second question for you to answer. Think about a few roles that you would like to consider. Don't buy that BS that you have to focus on the same career track. I believe that when you start searching for a new job, it's also an opportunity for you to explore some other venues, because you might have been in the role for a few years now and the world changed, industry changed, companies changed. There might be other things out there. So try to look around, read some job descriptions, go talk to your friends who switched the job recently. Select at least a couple, if not 3 different career paths, career roles that you want to pursue. They might be still along the same line. For example, you're an accountant, you want to evaluate corporate finance, you want to evaluate accounting, you want to evaluate tax. Those are still relevant jobs, but have a group of them because you want to explore the waters and check out what's out there. Final question to ask yourself, do you have time to actually do that? As my wife would say, job search is its own job. You have to at least have an hour every day to consistently execute on these steps. If you do not have them, I have a couple of videos that I'll link here where I discuss how I find those spare moments of time during the day. And thankfully, due to the mobile technologies and the ubiquity of internet throughout, air, outside of our household, outside of our Wi-Fi, there are different times and opportunities where you can leverage it, but you have to commit. You have to commit that extra time, maybe forego that extra episode on Netflix or Hulu or whatever the streaming service you use, because the job search, there are no excuses, no ifs, buts, or maybes. You have to fully commit and fully execute on every single one of those steps. Sounds good? You answered those 3 steps, you're still on the same page with us? Well, now it's time to dive deeper. Step number 1, think through your story and be honest with it. You do not and never, you should never come up with different over-glorified portions of your professional experience or professional achievements that you've never really reached. You have to be very honest about where you are in your career and how you got there. Part of the reason why I ask those couple of questions about specifically your story and where you're trying to aim for is because when you're on the phone with that recruiter or that hiring manager, you have to be respectful and you have to explain to them why you're looking for a job and where you are in a career and where you want to be. So you don't want to be completely ambiguous or not have a concrete details because you'll just sound all over the place, and you also want to make sure you're completely honest about how you got there in the first place. You also do not want to fake your interest in the company or in the role. Recruiters deal with us, applicants, every day, multiple times a day. They see through that very quickly, and the hiring managers will see through that. Or when you are, if you made it to that in-person round of interview, if you're not interested, I've been there when I interviewed those kind of people, you can clearly see that they're faking their interest and they're just saying the right things and they're trying to be good at interviewing rather than proving that they're good at that job that we're about to hire them for. I know, easy for me to say, I already crossed that border, I already got a job offer, but this is important. Having the cohesive story and telling exactly where you want to be and being honest about it will set you up for the successful career in that job offer that you're going to get. You will not last in something that you faked your interest in or you lied your way through. So stick to this, stick to your story, and be honest about it. Step number 2, figuring out how to tackle the compensation conversation. You hate it, I hate it, most of the people hate it, some people enjoy negotiating, but majority of us, we do not like having those conversations. But it's important. It will come up in the very first phone call that you will have with your company. Luckily, we have Glassdoor. Glassdoor is an amazing free tool. It's free to register. You can even submit the compensation information from your prior company, and then you'll have an access to all the salaries, both for small and the major companies. This is a great tool for you to leverage. And as you prepare for your interview, this is one of the first places you should go to understand what are the comp ranges for the role that you're interviewing for. If the compensation range is a little bit lower than what you expected, make sure you communicate exactly the number that you want to. Don't try to sell yourself short. Ask for the smaller number because, again, as we discussed in the first step about figuring out your honest story, if you do not set the expectations right and you made it to more advanced stages, it will be much harder to try and negotiate back to the level where you want to be. And it will leave a bitter taste with the hiring manager and the recruiting team because you did not set the right expectations. And part of being successful in any career is setting the right expectations. And since Glassdoor is not a magic bullet, you have those situations where there's zero estimates from that company. And well, at that point, you kind of have to figure out what your ideal number is, which you should know anyway, and add about 10% to give yourself some room to negotiate. And once that question been asked, make sure you open it with the same disclaimer that I use. Just you feel free to tailor it for yourself or make it even better. I'm sure some of you will make it way better than I do, but make sure to disclaim the fact that you're flexible on the number to a certain extent. I always like to emphasize the fact that depending on what the benefits and the perks of the role are, the compensation number can be adjusted. For example, if they provide you, free lunch and dinner every day in the office, that's less expenses that you will bear on your salary. So maybe taking a little bit of a lower salary would make sense because it's being offset by that free food in the office. Or maybe the commutal services are completely covered. Maybe there's some other expenses that they will cover for you. They'll pay for your car or for your cell phone. Those are the things that will affect the final number you will ask for. So you want to make sure you open it. The way I like to do that is the following. Yes, Mr. Recruiter, great question. I'll absolutely give you my salary range. But first, I'd like to say that I always like to also make sure we're on the same page regarding the fact that depending on how the benefits and the perks are in your company, I can be a little bit more flexible in either direction on the compensation. So currently, my required number is X, but as we get, hopefully, further into the process, I would love to have a conversation with you regarding some of the benefits and some of the perks that your company offers. Again, not ideal, not the same thing that you should use every single time. Feel free to tailor it for yourself, but this is exactly how I would have that conversation with a lot of the recruiters. Some of them will probably watch this video and be like, this guy really used exactly the same talk track with me. Now we're talking even more fun stuff. I love LinkedIn. As we talk about the tools, I have to bring up LinkedIn first and foremost. And I use the example here in the United States. I'm sure a lot of countries in Europe and North America will reflect the same. Further out into the East, I don't know how well LinkedIn is established as a tool, but here it's an amazing tool. I've tried a lot of different things on this path as I was applying for the last couple of months for the roles. And I must say, I've tried LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter, Glassdoor has its own job application. I had tried Monster, I tried Indeed, I tried Expertier, a couple of other smaller tools and platforms. And I must say, if you're trying to decide how to allocate your time, 80% of the time allocate it to LinkedIn. Forget about some of those other tools and definitely be cautious about some of those websites that first ask you for your email and contact information before letting you to apply, because I think 100% of those usually would then redirect me back to LinkedIn or some other website to apply to, so they're just hoarding your personal information. LinkedIn doesn't do that. LinkedIn does legitimate job posts, and I like the fact that a lot of the tools that they bring in with LinkedIn are perfectly applicable to how you should approach your job search. First and foremost, you have to have a good professional profile set up. Make sure all of your past roles are reflected, your education is reflected, your skills are reflected on your profile. Use a professional or at least, upfront or some interesting profile photo. No Yoshi in your profile photos, no multiple people in your profile photos. This is not Facebook. Make sure it looks at least representative of who you are as a person. The beauty of LinkedIn is that every job section will give you plenty of space to add different skills and different experiences that you went through at that company. But you also have to have your one-pager resume that reflects those factual items from LinkedIn, but tailored specifically for the type of role that we discussed. As I said, if you have 3 paths, say you're tax, accounting, and finance, you want to make sure you have 3 different one-pager resumes reflecting each one of those paths. And as you pick bullet points from your LinkedIn and place them into the resume, ask, does that bullet point answer the question, should we hire you for this role? If it does not, it has no place on that one pager, leave it on your LinkedIn. But if it perfectly showcases why you should be that tax person in the company, why you should be in that accounting department or that finance department, well, this is the perfect place to put it. Now, quickly level set, we have a great LinkedIn page, we have a lot of experience showcased there, we have a professional photo or decently looking photo over there, and we have a couple of one-pager resumes to use. Now, upload them all onto your LinkedIn profile and you're fully set up with that tool to start applying for jobs. Start searching for relevant jobs. As you've identified the right keywords to use when you're looking for a particular job, make sure you save it as a daily email reminder. LinkedIn will send you those daily summaries of all the new roles open within the region that you selected, within whatever other search criteria you selected for that role. And the amazing part of it is you can now, if you have especially the phone app, you can open that email and usually apply within probably a couple of minutes from clicking on that link to fully going through the application process and hitting the submit. Beautiful things are that LinkedIn has its own easy apply function. This is why we needed those one-pager resumes, because if they're already loaded and attached to your profile, as you click submit your application, it will pop up with the summary of your professional background, and it will offer you an opportunity to attach a particular resume. So you can click on that drop down, select a relevant resume, and hit the submit. Done. Take advantage of that efficiency. And if LinkedIn sends you out to a different profile page, what I noticed is that a lot of companies these days use the free Google Jobs application, which is essentially, I think, like a Google form that asks for exactly the same fields. Your first name, your last name, your email, maybe your address and your phone number. And then it asks you to attach a resume. And guess what? You already have those one-pagers. And just make sure when they ask you for the website, put in the URL to your LinkedIn profile in that section as well. That way they will have access to your full LinkedIn professional profile as well as a one-pager that's super relevant for that specific role. You see what I love LinkedIn? It's a perfect base of operation for your job search. Make sure whenever you go out, even on the different websites, and you apply to jobs, make sure you always leave somewhere, whether it's within your resume or within the application, the URL back to your LinkedIn profile. Make sure people always come back to it. They always see your connections. They always see your recommendations. They always see all the amazing things that you've done. To avoid making this video too long, I'll jump through the next 2 sections relatively quickly. So, step number 4, start leveraging the network. There's nothing bad about asking for the introductions. That's it. That's a fact. We are all in the same situation. If you're in a professional career, if you're in a business career where you're going to be job searching from time to time, it's only natural for you to ask one of your friends or colleagues for the reference, because guess what? In a couple of years, they might be exactly in the same situation asking you for that reference. So fully take advantage of that opportunity. Whenever I would identify a company and the role that I like, I would always go on LinkedIn. You see, there's always silver lining and connection between the prior steps. I would use LinkedIn to go and look up that company and see if I'm connected directly or through the second degree connection to anyone in that company. One of the benefits of talking to people from those organizations is that even before going through that application process and wasting your time, potentially wasting your time, you can find out whether this is the right place for you. I had this hilarious conversation with one of my contacts in the companies that I looked at, where I reached out to him. He reached out back, we had the conversation, and the first thing he said, dude, stay away from this company. I myself is leaving. I hate this place. You should not be applying. Done. He just saved me with that 20-minute conversation, probably anywhere between 20 minutes to hours that I would have spent going through the interview process, potentially even accepting the offer and hating the place. That is why the network is so important. To keep track of all of those conversations, because let's face it, unless you're super lucky, it will take you a few weeks to go through this process, so there will likely be a few people you'll talk to. Create a spreadsheet and start tracking the person, the contact information you used, where you connected them, whether it was via the text, via the phone call, LinkedIn messaging, which company they're coming from, what role you are discussing, and take a few notes about your last conversation. I know, spreadsheeting the relationship sounds a little bit iffy, it sounds very impersonal, but it doesn't mean that when I track those conversations, I do not make those engagements very friendly and engaging and appreciative for their time. A big part of the reason why I created spreadsheet in the first place is my respect for those people's time. Because when you have conversations with more than 5 or 6 people concurrently, let's face it, you will not remember every single action item you discuss. Maybe you're supposed to send them the resume, you're supposed to send them the link to a job or do something of that kind, or some things that they shared. You might completely forget about those things by the time of your next phone call, and that will make you look unprofessional and disrespectful of all the efforts that they're investing in helping you get this job. So spreadsheeting is the way for you to make sure you respect everyone else's effort. You keep track of all the action items and of all the things that you need to take care of. And by the way, over time, when you'll start getting more and more traction, you will also know who helped you to get there. So I think spreadsheeting is very important. Making sure there is a process around this is very important because it will also drive the discipline throughout those networking opportunities. The fifth and the final step, relentless execution. You have to execute through those steps and you have to go through that grind over and over and over again. There are no shortcuts. Set yourself a schedule. For example, talk to one person every day of the workday week. So it means 5 people that you're going to talk to every week, whether it's your networking professional contacts or someone you're just reaching out to learn more about the company. Commit to applying to at least 2 to 3 jobs a day. You have to build that pipeline. Beauty of LinkedIn is that it gives you access to multiple jobs at the same time. So use it. Prepare for every single interview. Do not disrespect recruiters' time. It's part of their job. They're helping you as well as you're helping them find the right candidate. So make sure you respect their time and do at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes of research before every conversation. You want to make sure you show them that you understand their role, you understand the company, and the story that you developed about why you're looking for a job fits with why you think this is the right place, this is the right job for you to pursue. And once you go through that conversation, take notes, prepare for the next round, and do it over and over again until you get an offer. There's no reason for you to stop the entire pipeline if you feel like you're in the final stages of the interview, because guess what? Sometimes the final stage means that there are a couple of candidates and 1 or 2 of them will get a no. So you don't want to put yourself in the position of starting all over again. Until you sign that paper, keep interviewing, keep moving through that pipeline, keep that grind going, and you will succeed. Are you ready to take on this challenge? Do you agree with my methods? What are other tips or tricks that you used in your career search in past that helped you to land that perfect job? Share those ideas, comments, and thoughts in the section below. This is all that I have for you guys this week. I tried to keep it efficient and punchy, but I know it's a lot of information, and I probably skipped some important things that you're still wondering about. So this is what the comment section is for. Reach out there, reach out to me on Twitter, ping me to discuss this. I love professional development. I respect anyone who is in the process of job hunt. I know it's not easy. Watch my definition of hustle video. You'll know what I'm talking about when I say I know for a fact it's not easy. So the fact that you're just my subscriber or viewer doesn't mean that I cannot just, glance over your LinkedIn, give you some comments about your LinkedIn, about your resume, or maybe even jump with you on a 15 to 20 minute phone call just to discuss some of the challenges that you're facing. Keep pushing, keep relentlessly executing on those steps, believe in yourself. I know you will have some doubts throughout the process. Leave them aside. You'll have some worries, compartmentalize them. Just remember, you're doing this for you. Thank you very much, guys, for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe button and check out the videos in the backlog. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you very much for stopping by. As always, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this video, and I will see you all next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, on this very channel, 2020 style. You can clearly tell I was ready for this new year. I do consider myself lucky. I landed a great job, my top pick, and I'm now in an interesting role. I actually prepared for even the first day by taking probably a dozen pages worth of notes, just because I'm that interested in the kind of challenges that we're going to be tackling together. And I'm also very excited for the things that we'll be doing on this channel. So if you're new to this place, strap in, get ready. There'll be a lot of fun things that we will discuss and explore, because this is what life is. It's full of opportunities and full of interesting things and interesting people for us to talk about. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.